When Luin meets the Terran King and sets out to return home, he finds Doom Prime standing in front of the gate, which confuses him. With a completely serious expression, Doom Prime stands outside the gate, observing Luin. As Luin approaches, Doom Prime, visibly angry, questions him about his conversation with the Terran King. Luin becomes even more confused upon hearing this because he feels Doom Prime might be standing there for a different reason. So he asks if Doom Prime was waiting for him for that specific matter. However, consumed by jealousy, Doom Prime ignores Luin's confusion and angrily demands an answer again. Initially perplexed by his words, Luin takes some time to contemplate what to reply. Then he says to Luin, "Is there a reason why I should tell you?" There's no trace of fear on his face, even as he observes Doom Prime's anger. Doom Prime wants an answer, and his frustration grows when he doesn't get one. However, now there's a calmness on his face alongside his anger as he draws his sword, saying, "But I want to hear it." As he slowly draws his sword from its sheath, a different energy begins to flow through the hall. Initially, Luin seems unaffected by this energy flow. But as Doom Prime continues to draw his sword, Luin starts to feel discomfort from the energy flow, which he senses is quite powerful. He begins to realize the extent of Doom Prime's strength. So he asks him, "Are you suggesting we fight right here, outside the stadium?" The different energy flows surrounding them from all sides, and both are ready to fight. Doom Prime shouts at him, saying if he wants to fight, he can do it right now. There's a gleam in his eyes, reflecting his strength and confidence. A unique atmosphere fills the entire hall, with the energy flow around their bodies emitting a brilliant glow. However, Luin struggles a bit to stand against Doom Prime's energy flow. He fully understands that Doom Prime is quite strong, and he can't seem to find any of his weaknesses, which triggers a sense of fear within him. At the same time, he contemplates what would happen if Doom Prime were to draw his sword. Doom is about to draw his sword when suddenly, a voice from behind interrupts them, causing both to turn around to see who it is. As they turn around, they see Irene Prius approaching them, and both calm down upon hearing her voice. Approaching them, Irene says, "It looks like there's some kind of gathering here today. Everyone seems to be here." Luin and Doom both become calm and stand quietly. Luin breathes a sigh of relief and says, "There is no gathering, but I was considering making a greeting space, at least." Irene responds, "I'll pass," but Doom remains silent, standing quietly. And immediately, Doom Prime walks away from there, taking a deep breath. He asks Irene if Doom Prime is such a sensitive person. Irene smiles and reassures Luin that Doom Prime isn't sensitive at all, but he does speak up occasionally, like he did today. Luin doesn't fully grasp what she means. So, Irene patiently explains to him that Doom Prime becomes sensitive when it's something related to King Terran because he will do everything to earn King Terran's recognition, even if it means pushing others aside. And it's very unusual for King Terran to arrange a private setting like today. Upon hearing this, Luin understands that Doom Prime feels like Luin is receiving special attention from King Terran, and he shares this with Irene. Upon hearing Luin's words, Irene looks at him lovingly for a moment, not responding to his question. This sight makes Luin a bit hesitant as he sees her standing so calmly. Then she asks him if when he was with Doom Prime a while ago, did he really want to fight him? Luin responds to Irene's question, explaining that if he had done something like that, there would have been a chance of his disqualification. With a laugh and a playful tone, he tells her that neither did Doom Prime want to fight him because he didn't have any such intention. He was just trying to scare him. Listening to him, Irene leans forward with a smile, teasingly pulling his leg, and asks him if he was scared. Luin smiles confidently and says he doesn't think he'll lose to Doom Prime because he believes that no matter how strong the wall is, if you keep hitting it repeatedly, it will give way. He then boasts about his strength, saying, "I'm quite strong, you know?" Irene laughs upon hearing his words, her face turning slightly red, and she tells him that Lord Luin is truly a strange person. She warns him to be careful because Doom Prime doesn't show mercy at all, and she emphasizes that after today's incident, his eyes will be on Luin. After a while, Luin arrives at the place where Jason is in a state of disappointment, with his head bowed in sorrow over his match. However, Luin praises him to boost his morale, acknowledging everyone's hard work. Hanks, the one who stands by Luin's side, tells him, "If we tied for 4th place in the team competition without Luin, I think we did well. Now it's actually miraculous." However, he feels saddened by his winning streak being broken, but Luin is happy to show rebellion against Globo Academy. Meanwhile, their teammate arrives with cola vanilla drinks in 2 polythene bags, gleefully asking everyone who wants to drink. Hanks also asks Luin about his plan for the individual competition because it's about to start soon. Luin takes a can of drink from his teammate and, smiling, responds to Hanks, "Of course, I have to win." Filled with confidence, he tells his teammates that he intends to stay in 1st place until the end. He further informs them that his current ranking in the individual competition is tied for 1st place. Hanks reminds him that he is in a situation where he is shoulder to shoulder with other strong contenders for the championship, so the next match is particularly important unless there is a major change, in which they will battle for survival. It is a survival game for 32 student representatives on an artificial island. The 1st place gets 32 points, and the last place gets 1 because points are awarded based on performance, so there will be significant changes in the rankings. Hanks then tells Luin that he is confident that he will perform well in the match. He asks his teammate if he won't repair like the others. Upon hearing this, Luin becomes confused. To clarify, Jason explains to him and tells him that the others are currently forming alliances. This fact was not known beforehand that in the battle for survival, it's possible to form alliances for survival, judging between enemies and allies, and combining friends are also recognized as strategies. And this information is given to Luin by Jason and Hanks. Upon hearing this, Luin sits down, placing his hand on his head, lost in deep thought. Hanks advises him to team up with Column, but Luin doesn't say anything after hearing his words and remains silent. Because he is already thinking that he had previously considered teaming up with Irene Prius, but he isn't sure if she will team up with him, and because of this concern, Luin remains quiet. Meanwhile, Seta Malkiri opens the gate from behind, shouting with excitement, and asks Luin for his opinion. Upon hearing his words, a smile returns to Luin's face because he had completely forgotten about Seta Malkiri. And immediately, both of them run excitedly towards the outside. While running, Seta Malkiri tells Luin that he must not betray him in the middle, and Luin, pulling Seta's leg, says, "Don't do it yourself either." But Luin has full trust that Seta Malkiri is honest and can be trusted as a teammate. As they run, they reach a distance where Luin shouts, "Let's hurry, there is one more ally that we need to recruit." Hearing this, he becomes confused. Luin rushes to Irene Prius's room, where a crowd of people from various teams is gathered, discussing among themselves with disappointment because Irene Prius has refused to join their team. Seta Malkiri is also surprised and asks Luin if he's not going to ask Irene Prius to join his team, and then he asks if they are friends. Luin agrees with him. This revelation shocks Seta Malkiri because if Irene teams up with Luin, then Seta Malkiri will also have to team up with him. Luin observes Seta Malkiri's excitement and tries to calm him down, explaining to him to stay calm while opening the gate and telling him that he hasn't asked Irene yet. Seta Malkiri's face turns completely red, and he tries to explain to Luin that everyone who came here has been rejected, and if he gets rejected too, Luin becomes upset by Seta Malkiri's words and asks him, "Am I confessing love or something?" All these conversations are also heard by Irene, and she tells Luin, "Enough with the ominous talk." Luin immediately turns around upon hearing her voice and looks back. Irene is standing there, looking at him lovingly. With a smile on her face, she says, "Shall we have a strategy meeting then?" And after a while, they all start analyzing the map for battle survival together. Luin asks Irene, "You said the largest group would be 14 people, right?" Irene agrees with him and informs that the group would be led by Dalian Malkin from the Frelia School of Divine Magic. She goes on to say that Dalian is a genius and has always been one of the top 5 contenders for the championship. He primarily uses light magic and divine magic. Seth also remembers how annoying Dalian can be in his group, so he advises them not to worry too much about him. Upon hearing this, Luin also says that there is someone else who's annoying, Doom Prime. And he further states that the content of the tournament will vary depending on its performance, and they start preparing for the tournament. A few moments later, all the teams are gathered on a ship flying through the air towards the island. Along the way, a professor asks everyone if they have worn their armor and explains to them that when the durability of the armor they are currently wearing is depleted, they will be eliminated and automatically transported. They emphasize that everyone should listen to this carefully. Every few hours, they land the ship on an island where there is a beautiful scenery. All the teams disembark from the ship after a short while. But Seta Malkiri starts feeling nervous, while Luin and Irene stand beside him unaffected. From the shore, Seta Malkiri sees a distant island covered by a shield with water all around it, and he asks Luin to confirm if they are supposed to stay there for only 72 hours. Luin replies affirmatively while also keeping an eye on their opponents who seem anxious, especially upon seeing Doom Prime. Luin tells Irene that Doom Prime coming alone is as he expected, and Irene warns not to underestimate him just because he's alone. Without wasting any time, Luin immediately tells his teammates to gather and head towards the main island. As soon as they arrive, they immediately head towards main island. When they cross the barrier surrounding the island, they feel something strange, indicating that it's their safe zone, and the barrier will shrink as time passes. Therefore, Luin, with his teammates, rushes towards the island and tells them that they need to hurry to secure a good spot quickly. They climb up onto tall trees for that spot, and after a while, Seta Malkiri starts feeling hungry, causing his stomach to rumble. He asks Luin if they shouldn't get some food earlier at the entrance. Upon hearing this, Irene taunts him, saying, "I wouldn't expect the one arguing that we should ambush him first, Sir Seta Malkiri." Seta Malkiri hesitates at her words and asks, "All right, we are one team now, but are you going to continue drawing lines?" Suddenly, they hear a loud blast from behind, causing them to immediately turn around to see what's happening. Looking back, they witness a massive explosion in the distant jungle, engulfing several trees in flames. Upon seeing this, Seta Malkiri becomes anxious and asks if the fight has started. Luin, however, sees this as an opportunity and smiles, telling Seta Malkiri that now it's their turn. Confused, Seta Malkiri doesn't fully understand, so Luin explains to him, "Didn't I say there is no need to worry about food now? You can eat until your stomach bursts. Our prey has already arrived." On the other side, a group of 5 people cautiously moves forward through the jungle, looking around anxiously while carrying various food supplies. They seem to be taking careful steps, showing concern on their faces as they progress. One of them expresses to their leader, "Student, we have gathered enough food. Moving forward has become extremely exhausting." Their leader advises them to be patient, explaining that there are only a few places where water and food can be easily found, so they need to remain patient. Suddenly, they are ambushed, and one of them falls to the ground, while the rest stand alert, looking around vigilantly. This ambush is carried out by Seta Malkiri, who swiftly casts iron balls to launch another attack, delighted as he has been eagerly waiting for this moment. He immediately launches another attack with his iron spear. Seeing this, their opponents become greatly alarmed and stand frozen in place, utterly shocked. Just as they are about to attack, Irene Prius casts an Ice Blizzard, which is a 5th grade ice magic, surprising Luin, who is momentarily taken aback by her ability. Seeing Irene cast such a high-level magic without any change in expression, Setamalkiri also admires her internally, while his attention is still focused behind them. Meanwhile, the opposing team prepares to attack them with magic powers, and their leader shouts deeply, instructing them to wait and give time for Irene Prius to advance while blocking as much as possible. Everyone agrees with his command, and they launch powerful attacks, which are met with great force. Observing all this, Luin understands that their opponents are powerful wizards, as they are representatives after all. Seeing the strength of their opponents, Luin also jumps into the battlefield to assist his team. Meanwhile, the members of the opposing team start hearing a strange sound, causing them to become nervous and look around frantically. As they try to figure out the source of the sound, they suddenly see Luin advancing towards them from behind, preparing to attack. In response, they immediately launch an attack on Luin. To evade it, Luin uses Time Warp, which shocks the opposing team, making their heartbeats race faster, and they are unable to move to save themselves. Luin swiftly moves forward to attack the leader of the opposing team, delivering a powerful blow. His teammates watch helplessly as they are unable to intervene. In an attempt to save himself, the leader of the opposing team immediately launches a binding tri-attack. However, Luin, seeing the attack coming, leaps into action and uses a firebolt, which is significantly larger in size, causing the opposing team to become greatly alarmed at the size of his fireball. In an attempt to escape, their leader warns them that it's a mana-born explosion, urging everyone to avoid it while shouting. However, Setamalkiri intervenes with his ice attack, attempting to halt them from evading Luin's attack. With Setamalkiri's clever move, Luin manages to overwhelm the opponent's leader in one fell swoop, and his mana-born explosion is so massive that its sound echoes far and wide, engulfing several trees in flames. Now, Luin's gaze falls upon his remaining teammates, who are visibly shaken by Luin's power. With Luin and his teammates facing off against their opponents, although the opposing team outnumbered them, witnessing the dire condition of their leader, they become extremely anxious, their hearts pounding heavily. Consequently, they declare Luin the winner, acknowledging his victory despite their numerical advantage. Luin and his teammates are overjoyed by this decision, especially since they now have plenty of food.